Good morning. It's 37 degrees Fahrenheit and about 10:30 in the morning. It's going to be in the low 50s this week, and it's February 1st. This is so not right. This should be covered in snow, frozen. The ground's a little bit hard right now, but basically it's soft enough that water can be absorbed. So yesterday I watered, and I am going to be doing some early cleanup. I know it's still a bit early to think about planting anything, of course, and we could have some pretty bad frost, but I'm going to try and take out some of this lilac today, hopefully, maybe tomorrow at the latest. Oh, I have all week to do it because it's going to be in the 50s all week. So I'm just showing you this because I need to document it for myself anyway. It's kind of a mess back here. I have a lot of cleanup to do. Some of that's the neighbors I can't do anything about. But I'm just going to start cleaning up a bit. I may leave some of the leaves around some of the bushes and shrubs and things like that, because we could still have frost. We could still have another hard frost. The biggest problem is what we're seeing is, if I can get this back here, you can see there's already some buds forming, and it's too early. Way too early. Another main focus I have here is just to do some deadheading. I usually wait and do that later in the season, and actually these guys, you don't always have to deadhead. They'll come back pretty much all the way up the side. These are the Russian sage, but I don't really necessarily want them to start out that tall anyway. They grow pretty fast. And then I do have to take out some old canes in here. This is French tarragon. So, yeah, little projects like that. And I already cleaned up this big tooth maple in the fall with my loppers. It did a pretty good job. I could have probably gone a little lower, but I think I had some good growth going on down there, so I left it. There we go. We'll continue on. Here's an example of one of the plants that I'm concerned about. You can see that it's already swelling a bit, trying to prepare to leaf out, and that is the haskip berry, the honeyberry. You really don't want it to be doing this in February or January, which we've just passed. So yeah, this weather is more like late March. This is very bizarre. It's gonna be in the 50s Fahrenheit today, so that's a big concern. This one could try to leaf out too early, could try to bloom too early, and we could have a hard frost. We have opportunities for hard frosts all the way into even May sometimes, so hopefully that won't happen. The other thing that I like to do is, if I have some things like this is a Veronica Speedwell, it might still have some seeds in it. So if I have an opportunity, and if I think the weather could still continue to be cool, just take those off and disperse everything and hope that there were still a couple seeds. And you can always throw this in the soil, see what happens. I don't think the chickens are going to go for it, but you just never know. What do you think, Maeve? Yeah. All right. Well, As I said, I have a lot of deadheading to do, so I'll get more of that done. Lots of things to clean up, but it's a great day for it and good exercise. One of the great things about leaving your leaves on the ground is that it is going to eventually turn into leaf mold and a soil that'll be good for the ground. Here I'm actually going to clean it up a little because it's a Virginia creeper and I don't care how much protection it gets from the winter. I wouldn't mind killing it off, it's not a big deal. And then next to it I have phlox growing. I'm going to keep it covered for longer because I don't really want to get the chickens excited about a new area to explore and dig in. And that would just destroy it. So that's kind of why I leave some things covered longer, in addition to providing insulation and moisture retention. So on we go. I still have a lot of yard to work on. Some of this I'm going to clean up anyway, just to put in the corner and let the chickens work on a little bit more. I have a pretty quick method for getting rid of things you don't care for, and raking out some of the dead stuff is you just take this kind of rake here, you push back and then pull forward. And you know, if you're trying to get rid of some of the stuff on the top, if you don't care for the particular plant, like this is a Russian sage and they come back fine every year, so I just pull them out as much as I can. Sometimes I do the same here with the French tarragon. You just pull. Unfortunately, I'm doing this with one hand right now to demonstrate, but with two hands you can really get a lot out. And again, you can do the same here, although I might not do that with that one. That is the globe thistle. I don't want to disturb any of the lower part of the plant. So this is mostly effective with plants that you either don't want or you just want to, get them taken all the way down to the ground and they're really hardy. I want to mention something about this grass. This was here when we moved here and it's really great. I believe it's called buffalo grass. One really neat feature is that it might look like we have a real mess under here and that it's taking up all the space for this smoke bush, but if you pull this back you'll notice there's plenty of space for the smoke bush, and anything dead you can just kind of remove, and then you can kind of put it back so that the chickens have no idea that there's anything down there. Sometimes they figure it out, but most of the time that's a pretty good cover. Also, I had some bare spots over here that I just covered with leaves to make sure that the chickens don't get in there. And if I'm worried about the grass getting too thick, I don't actually mow in this area, so I just take that rake with the, I don't know what the particular rake is called, but I do the same kind of technique that I did over here. It's, I guess I should look it up. It's this rake right here, which can be very destructive, but it does come in really handy to get anything dead underneath this grass. Anyway, that's another little tip. I just took out the majority of this French tarragon. It was right here. All of the material is now over here. I used I mainly use the garden rake, that wider tined garden rake. It's a heavier steel, easier to work in these kind of situations, but I'm not worried about this plant because it always has new growth. You can see it's just everything else getting in the way. Yeah. So there's already new growth here. Even if I took those out, it probably wouldn't be a big deal. And it also kind of controls the spread. So if I want to take, there's even more out here. The chickens might even come in here and dig a bit, which is fine with me. If I lost this one, it'd be okay too, because I kind of want to feature the big tooth maple. But any cleanup is right now is pretty nice, and that's a lot of debris that I'm gonna, maybe I can, it'll break down eventually, so we'll keep that. And here's another trick with the chickens, is that it looks like all of this is not raked or anything, but basically I'm kind of protecting this area. I don't really want the chickens to see that this has been worked on already. They might be smart enough to figure it out, but so far they haven't noticed. They like bare spots, so that works pretty well. So it feels like I've just scratched the surface, and in a way I have. I could be doing a lot more, but I'm going to save myself for tomorrow and the rest of the week, since it's supposed to be very nice all week. And as you can see, I've started a little pile in the back. I don't usually put it there, but they like to play. The chickens like to play in that area, so we'll let them move that stuff around. I usually put the stuff further back in that area, but for now they'll be happy where it is. And all of this is going to go in there. I'm just going to let it sit here. It's not going to rain or anything, so we should be good. Let it break down a little bit. Yeah, so I feel pretty good about it. I got all of that French tarragon cleaned up, and the Russian sage cleaned up. This rose had some broken stems, branches, so those are off. And that's pretty common this time of year too. Just look around, make sure everything's, still alive, or if it's dead, remove it. And I did notice when I was looking over at the cherry tree that there are some areas where you can see the growth. It's same with the plums. Everything is starting to come up. So, and that's something to watch. But we'll do what we can when the time comes. That's it. What are you doing out, Maeve? All right. Got to deal with that. Hope you have a great day.